Okay, good morning, class. Good morning to everyone. Okay, Balantidium coli, protozoan parasite. Okay, Balantidium coli, one of the largest protozoan parasite that infect human beings, and it is the only ciliate protozoan ciliate that can cause infection in human. That is Balantidium coli. It is only protozoan ciliate that can infect human. Balantidium coli, protozoan parasite, belong to subphylum Celiophora. It means it is only protozoan ciliate that can infect human. And it was first discovered by Malmsteen in 1857 in faces of two patients with severe dysentery. Balantidium coli, one of the protozoan parasite, one of the largest protozoan parasite, right? And it is the only ciliate that can infect human beings. Most of the other ciliates are free living, whereas this Balantidium coli is only ciliate that can infect human, and disease that caused by this Balantidium coli in human being is generally known as balantidiasis or balantidial dysentery, or also known as ciliary dysentery, because it is the only ciliate that can infect humans. Okay, and as it was first discovered by Malmsteen in 1857 in faces of two patients with severe dysentery who are suffering from severe dysentery. It belongs to phylum Celiophora, family Balantididae, and this Balantidium coli is present worldwide, that is distributed worldwide, but prevalence of infection is very low. But it is most commonly, the distribution of this Balantidium coli is worldwide, but prevalence of infection is very low. But the prevalence seems to be higher in place where pigs are raised, because this Balantidium coli is animal parasite. It means pig, especially pig, acts as important animal reservoir. For this Balantidium coli, pig acts as an important animal reservoir. So human infection usually seen in place where pigs are raised. It means this Balantidium coli is zoonosis, or the disease caused by this Balantidium coli is also known as zoonotic, because the pig acts as the natural animal, or pig acts as the animal reservoir. And different animal and other animal other than this pig also sometimes or very rarely serve as animal reservoir. Pig is one of the important animal reservoir for this Balantidium coli, but there are some animal which can also act as reservoir, but very rarely in comparison to pig, like rodents, chimpanzees, and monkeys. Okay, these rodents, chimpanzees, and monkeys also can sometimes act as animal reservoir for this Balantidium coli. And as most of the protozoan parasite, this Balantidium coli also exists in two different stages, that is tropozoid and cyst. Okay, that is just like Entamoeba histolytica, amoeba, yes. Protozoan parasite causing amoebic dysentery, Entamoeba histolytica. This Balantidium coli also exists in two stages, that is tropozoid and cyst. Tropozoid, a bit larger than cyst, and tropozoid stage is also known as motile stage, feeding stage, or invasive stage. Right? This tropozoid stage is also known as active stage, in which parasite, in which the protozoa can move from one place to another, in which it is the stage in which protozoa feeds, okay, and it is the stage, and this stage is also known as invasive stage, right? It can cause invasions. And the cyst stage is also known as resting stage, and it is non-motile and it is not non-invasive. But cyst is the source of infection, or cyst plays vital role in transmitting disease. So cyst is also known as infective stage. This is the figure showing tropozoid of this Balantidium coli, whereas this is cyst of this Balantidium coli. Okay, now morphology of tropozoids. Tropozoids of this Balantidium coli are actively motile and invasive stage. That is, the tropozoid is also known as motile stage or invasive stage. It lives in large intestine of humans. It lives in large intestine, feeding on cell debris, bacteria, RBC, and starch grains. Okay, and this tropozoid is very large, ovoid cell having length of 60 to 70 micrometer and breadth of 40 to 50 micrometer. And sometimes the length of these tropozoids may range up to 200 micrometer. So this Balantidium coli is also known as one of the largest protozoan parasite. Okay, Balantidium coli have also known as one of the largest protozoan parasite because the size may range up to 200 micrometer. But approximate size of the tropozoid of this Balantidium coli is 60 to 70 micrometer in length and 40 to 50 micrometer in breadth, but sometimes it may be very large, that is up to 200 micrometer, so also known as one of the largest protozoan parasite. And talking about its morphologically, the anterior end of this tropozoid is somewhat pointed, and the posterior end is broadly rounded. Okay, this anterior end is somewhat pointed, whereas posterior end is some broadly rounded. Okay, you can see in this figure. Anterior end, that is somewhat pointed, and posterior end is found to be broadly rounded. And at anterior end, you can see small depression, which is also known as groove, or small depression or groove, which is known as peristome. And this peristome lead up to mouth of the tropozoid, which is also known as cytostome. And this cytostome again get terminated to short funnel shaped gullet known as cytopharynx. Okay, the anterior end is somewhat pointed, and there you can see groove or vestibule depression known as groove or vestibule, and which is known as peristome, which lead to the mouth known as cytostome. And this cytostome get terminated into short funnel shaped gullet known as cytopharynx. Okay, this is about the anterior portion of the tropozoid. The posterior end is broadly rounded, and it has got small excretory pore or small anal pore known as cytophagy. Okay, and the whole body of this tropozoid is enclosed by delicate pellicles showing longitudinal striations. The whole tropozoid is enclosed by membrane, very delicate membrane known as pellicles, and these pellicles show longitudinal striations. And these tropozoids is motile due to presence of cilia over entire surface of the body. The cilia get raised from this outer membrane, this delicate membrane, that is pellicle. It means the delicate membrane pellicle gives rise to cilia. So the tropozoites, the body of tropozoites is covered. Entire surface of the body is covered by cilia, and this cilia is the mode of locomotion, or with the help of the cilia, the tropozoites move from one place to another. Okay, and the one of the most important characteristic of this parasite is it has got two nuclei. One nuclei is very large and have kidney shaped, right? It has got two nuclei. One is large with kidney shape, which is known as macronucleus, and another one is small, round or spherical, which is known as micronucleus, and which lies in close proximity to the macronuclei. Here you can see macronuclei, which is kidney shaped, usually in kidney shape, and there is another small nuclei, which is also known as micronuclei, and which lies close proximity with this macronuclei. Okay, and the cytoplasm of these tropozoites also contain one or two contractile vacuoles, and the main role of this contractile vacuole is to maintain osmotic pressure. It extract, or it cause extraction of the or it causes the collection of the excess fluid within the cell and liberate those excess water outside the body. Okay, the main role of this contractile vacuole is to maintain osmotic pressure within the cell, and cytoplasm also contain many food vacuoles which help in digestion of food. Okay, this is about the morphology of tropozoites of this Balantidium coli. Tropozoid, a bit larger than cyst, motile and invasive stage, the entire body covered by delicate membrane known as pellicle, which has longitudinal striation. Here you can see longitudinal striations. And from this pellicle, it gives rise to cilia. So the whole entire body surface is covered by cilia, and this cilia, due to presence of this cilia, tropozoites are motile. With the help of this cilia, tropozoites move from one place to another. Okay, and the anterior portion is somewhat pointed, whereas posterior portion is usually round or broadly rounded. This anterior Within the anterior portion, you can see groove or vestibule, which is known as peristome, which lead to mouth known as cytostome, and then it get ended or terminated to funnel-shaped gullet known as cytopharynx. Right? Here it is not shown. Cytopharynx is not shown, but cytostome will terminate into cytopharynx. And then at the posterior end, you can see small excretory pore or small anal pore known as cytophagy. And the characteristic feature of this tropozoid is presence of two nuclei. One is big and another one is small. The big nuclei is usually have kidney shape, right? And the small one is spherical or round and which lie close proximity with the big macronuclei, big kidney-shaped macronuclei. And within the cytoplasm of these tropozoites, you can see two contractile vacuoles, one or two contractile vacuoles, and many food vacuoles. The main objective, the main function of this contractile vacuole is to maintain osmotic balance, whereas the food vacuoles, as the food get enter inside the body through the cytostome, these are surrounded by the vacuolar membrane and form food vacuoles. And within these food vacuoles, the food digestion of food occurs. Okay, now cyst, which is also known as resting stage, non-motile stage, and having main role in transmitting disease, so also known as infective stage. Okay, it is spherical in shape, measures 40 to 60 micrometer in diameter, surrounded by thick and transparent double layer wall. Cyst surrounded by thick and transparent double layer wall, consists of granular cytoplasm with macronucleus, micronucleus, and contractile vacuoles. You can still see granular cytoplasm with macronucleus, micronucleus, and contractile vacuoles within the cyst. Now, life cycle of Balantidium coli. This Balantidium coli completes its life cycle in two stages, that is tropozoid and cyst, but only one host is required. It means it completes its life cycle in only one host. Okay, only one host. It completes its life cycle in only one host, but it exists in two stages, tropozoid and cyst. Pig acts as natural animal, or pig acts as natural host, whereas man acts as incidental host. Okay, so balantidiasis is also known as zoonotic disease that incidentally infect human beings, and human beings usually get infection, or human beings usually acquire infection by ingestion of contaminated food and water. It means by ingestion of food and water containing cyst of this parasite. Okay, that is contaminated food and water. It means human beings usually acquire infection by fecal-oral route, and the transmission can occur in between pig to pig, pig to man, and also in between man to man. Okay, and usually infection is acquired by ingestion of contaminated food and water, that is by fecal-oral route. And after ingestion of the cyst of this parasite, the excitation, that is conversion from cyst to tropozoid, occur in one cyst will give rise to one tropozoids. Okay, Entamoeba histolytica, in case of Entamoeba histolytica, one cyst will give rise to how many tropozoids? 8 tropozoids. Yes, the tetranucleated cyst is infective stage. So when person ingests that infective tetranucleated cyst within the intestine, the nuclei, tetranucleated cyst, the nuclei of that cyst will divide. Each nuclei will divide, forming 8 nuclei and give rise to 8 tropozoids in Entamoeba histolytica. But here, one cyst will give rise to only one tropozoid. And this excitation usually occurs in small intestine. And from small intestine, the formed tropozoid will move down to the large intestine. Okay, and tropozoid usually colonize large intestine and get multiplied by transverse binary fission. Okay, here showing the transverse binary fission. First micronuclei get divided, and then macronuclei get divided, and then cytoplasm get divided by forming constriction at the middle part, that is the middle transverse section. By forming middle transverse section, the cell get divided into two. Okay, and the upper part of the cell will retain the mouth part. Yes, whereas it has to develop anal pore, whereas the daughter cell developed from the lower portion will retain anal pore, and later on it will develop mouth portion in anterior end. Okay, and another one special feature of this Balantidium coli is sexual union. Okay, this Balantidium coli, here you can see the sexual union in between tropozoids by process known as conjugation. Here the two Balantidium coli comes to contact through their anterior portion. Okay, two Balantidium coli comes contact with their anterior portion, and during this contact, the nuclear material, the genetic material get exchanged. Okay, and this conjugation, this sexual union will occur for very short period of time, then they will get detached. Okay, and the excitation usually occur as trophozoite pass down the colon and excreted along with stool. Excitation means transformation of trophozoite into cyst, and this transformation of trophozoites into cyst usually occur as trophozoite pass down the colon and these cysts are excreted along with stool. As cysts remain viable for many days in external environment, it is known as infectious stage. Or as cysts remain viable for many days in external environment, it can transmit disease. Means it can contaminate food and water and remain viable. Yes. So when any animal drink that contaminated food and water, they will get, they will suffer or they will get infection. Okay. So cyst is known as infective stage or infectious stage. Figure showing the life cycle of Balantidium coli. Cysts usually acquire infection, human acquire infection by ingestion of food and contaminated food and water. Contaminated food and water means food and water containing cysts. Okay, and as cysts along with food get ingested in small intestine, excitation occur. One trophozoite will give rise to one cyst will give rise to one trophozoite, and they move down and colonize this large intestine. Okay, and then within large intestine they multiply by binary fission, and some trophozoites also invade the wall of colon, and as they multiply by binary fission, they remain colonized in large intestine, and as these trophozoites move down to the colon, the excitation occur. It means trophozoite get converted into cyst, and the cyst get excreted along with stool to external environment. Cysts remain viable in external environment for many days, and it is the infectious stage, and it is responsible for transmitting the infection. Okay, talking about the pathogenesis of Balantidium coli. The Balantidium coli in healthy individual usually cause no sign and symptoms. Usually colonize the large intestine without causing any sign and symptoms. It means without any harm. It remain within the large intestine in case of healthy individuals. But in case of immunocompromised individuals having factors like malnutrition and immunosuppression, the clinical manifestation can be seen, and which is just similar to amoebic dysentery or that amoebiasis caused by Entamoeba histolytica. Okay. Usually, the Balantidium coli cause no harm in healthy individual, but in case of immunocompromised individual, it can show clinical manifestation and which is similar to amoebiasis. Okay, which is similar to disease or which is similar to clinical manifestation shown by Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, the trophozoites of this Balantidium coli can invade tissue by mechanical action of cilia and enzyme known as hyaluronidase enzyme, causing formation of ulcers and abscess in mucus and submucosa of large intestine, resembling lesions in amoebiasis. Okay. In certain cases, these trophozoites may invade the intestinal lining, and this invasion occur with the help of mechanical action of cilia and production of enzyme, that is hyaluronidase enzyme, forming ulcer and abscess in mucosa, submucosa, resembling the lesion as in amoebiasis. Ulcers are usually round, ovoid, or irregular in shape, covered with pus and necrotic materials. Generally, in case of Entamoeba histolytica, it forms flax-shaped ulcers, intestinal ulcers. But here, the Balantidium coli usually form round, ovoid, or irregular shaped ulcers, and which is covered by pus and necrotic materials. And sometimes these ulcers can be secondary infected by bacteria. Okay, and the cellular response in these ulcers due to this Balantidium coli is usually lymphocytic with some plasma cells. Neutrophils are very few, okay, unless the ulcer are superimposed by bacterial infection. Okay, the cellular response is usually lymphocytic with some plasma cell. Neutrophils are very few unless the ulcer is superimposed by bacterial infection. And rarely, these Balantidium coli can invade the intestinal lining, causing perforation. It means this Balantidium coli can rarely cause intestinal perforation, leading to extra-intestinal disease like peritonitis. And similarly, this Balantidium coli can also pass through the portal vein up to liver, causing liver abscess and pneumonia. That is, after perforation of diaphragm, it can pass up to lungs, causing pneumonia. Right? This extra-intestinal disease is also similar with the disease seen in Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, and this extra-intestinal disease are usually seen very rarely and mostly seen only in immunocompromised individual having factor that is malnutrition and immunodeficiency. Okay, talking about the clinical features, most infections are asymptomatic in healthy individual. The Balantidium coli colonize without any sign and symptoms. So most of the infection are asymptomatic, but in immunocompromised individuals, it may cause acute form of disease, which is characterized by rapid diarrhea or sometimes mucoid bloody stool with epigastric pain, tenesmus, nausea, and vomiting. And in chronic form, it can also cause chronic stays. It can also develop into chronic stays, which is usually characterized by recurrent diarrhea alternating with constipation. It means recurrent diarrhea alternating with normal bowel movement, that is alternating with constipation. And generally the recovery occur within 3 to 4 days even without treatment, but few may mimic cerebral intestinal amoebiasis. It means severe, right? Not cerebral. Severe recovery usually occur within 3 to 4 days even without treatment, but few cases may mimic severe intestinal amoebiasis involving intestinal as well as extra-intestinal. The clinical features, sign and symptoms are just similar with that caused by Entamoeba histolytica. Okay. Now laboratory diagnosis. Laboratory diagnosis can be done by microscopic stool examination. That is by demonstration of tropozoites and cysts. Laboratory diagnosis depends upon microscopic examination of stool, that is by demonstration of tropozoites and cysts in stool. In case of direct stool, that is usually seen in acute stage. In case of direct stool, that is usually seen in acute stage, we can see the large size tropozoites. Right? These tropozoites of this parasite can be usually seen in diarrheic stool. That is liquid stool, and usually get excreted during acute stage of the, and it can be identified. The tropozoites can be easily identified by presence of large size macronucleus, slow revolving motility with the help of cilia. Okay. The laboratory diagnosis can be done by microscopic stool examination. Okay. For microscopic stool examination, the saline weight mount and iodine weight mount can be prepared. Okay. For microscopic stool examination, both saline weight mount and iodine weight mount can be prepared. Within saline weight mount, we can see the motility of tropozoites. And in iodine weight mount, we can see yellow-brown stained tropozoites and cysts. And the identification of these tropozoites can be made by the presence of large macronuclei within these tropozoites, and with the help of its motility, we can identify tropozoites in liquid form of stool. Whereas cysts usually found in formed stool and usually excreted by chronic stage or by carrier cases. And this cyst is round shape with distinct large macronuclei. It means cyst also can be identified with the presence of, by observing, cyst can be identified by observing these large macronuclei. Okay. Laboratory diagnosis done by microscopic stool examination. Both saline weight mount and iodine weight mount can be prepared in liquid form of stool. In acute stage, we can see tropozoites. We can also see tropozoites, and we can identify tropozoites by its slow revolving motility and presence of macronuclei. And cysts usually found in formed stool and usually seen in chronic stage, and also are excreted by carrier cases. And these cysts are round, and it also can be identified by presence of large macronuclei. Now, biopsy. The examination of biopsy sample taken with the help of sigmoidoscope can be done for presence of tropozoites. Okay, the main diagnosis is microscopic examination of stool, but in some case, biopsy sample can be taken with the help of sigmoidoscope, and this biopsy sample can be observed for presence of tropozoites after staining. Okay, after HME staining, this biopsy specimen can be observed for presence of tropozoites. And within this biopsy, we cannot see cyst form of parasite. Right? We can only observe, we can only see for the presence of, we can only see tropozoites in this biopsy sample, not cyst. Here you can see presence of tropozoites in the biopsy sample taken with the help of sigmoidoscope. And culture, this is rarely used. Culture is rarely done for diagnosis. Okay, and almost all media that support growth of Entamoeba histolytica can be used for growing this Balantidium coli. Okay, almost all media means all that polygenic, agenic media. That is, what are the different culture media used for culturing Entamoeba histolytica? What is the example of polygenic?
Boic and Drovlov's.
Yes, Boic and Dorbolov. That is polygenic, and there is also agenic culture media that is known as
Diamond
culture media, agenic culture media. So this Balantidium coli can also be cultured in the media that used for Entamoeba histolytica. Treatment of this Balantidium coli usually can be done by giving tetracycline 500 mg 4 times a day for 10 days, or by metronidazole 750 mg 3 times a day. Okay. Prophylaxis, hygienic rearing of pig and prevent human pig contact. Okay, as the main animal reservoir of this parasite is pig, so hygienic rearing of pigs should be done, and the prevention of contact of pig excreta to the water should be prevented. It means protected water should be used for drinking. Prevention of contamination of food and water by excreta of pig and humans, and treatment of human shedding cysts. It means treatment of carriers should be done. Okay, thank you, class. This is about Balantidium coli, one of the largest protozoan parasite, only one ciliate that cause infection in human, and all the clinical manifestation is similar to the amoebic dysentery, or similar to the disease caused by Entamoeba histolytica. It means it also cause ulcers in large intestine. It also can invade the large intestine, causing different extraintestinal diseases, just like in Entamoeba histolytica. But this Balantidium coli, the prevalence is less than Entamoeba histolytica, and the severeness is usually seen very less in comparison to Entamoeba histolytica. Okay,